The huge metal station floated quietly in the darkness of space. It was called Haven 4, and it was one of the few places where all the different space civilizations could meet safely. Inside its massive halls, representatives from dozens of alien races talked and made deals while holographic displays showed their warships and planets. Captain Lucas Hunt stepped off the human shuttle with his crew. His brown hair was cut short, and his military uniform was spotless. Behind him walked Dr. Emma Rodriguez, carrying a data pad full of diagrams and technical information. She pushed back her dark hair and adjusted her glasses, which kept slipping down her nose because of her nervousness. "Remember, Captain," said Admiral Catherine Blake, who led the Earth delegation, "this isn't a military meeting. They invited us to share our technology, not start a fight." "I understand, Admiral," Lucas replied, "but they should understand that humanity earned our place here." The three humans walked into the main conference hall. The room was enormous, with a domed ceiling that showed a perfect view of the stars above. Seats lined the circular room in rising tiers, each position designed for different alien body types. Some chairs had extra arms for species with 4 limbs. Others had special tanks filled with strange liquids. As the humans took their seats, several alien ambassadors turned to look at them. Many had never seen humans before. The Korthank's ambassador, Zerath, was the first to speak. He was a tall, insect-like creature with multiple eyes on stalks and 4 arms covered in smooth gray. Exoskeleton. "Ah, the humans have arrived," Zerath said in perfect English, though his mandibles clicked between words. "We've been waiting to see what primitive tricks you'll show us today." Other aliens in the room made sounds that the translation systems interpreted as laughter. Admiral Blake felt her face get hot, but she stayed calm. "We've developed new defensive systems that might interest everyone," she said politely. "Defensive systems?" Zerath clicked dismissively. "Your species only joined Galactic Society 50 years ago. What could you possibly create that would interest civilizations thousands of years older than yours?" Dr. Rodriguez stood up. She pressed some buttons on her data pad, and a holographic image of a spaceship appeared in the middle of the room. The ship was smaller than most warships the aliens knew about. It had a sleek design with strange angles and no obvious weapon systems. "This is the Earth Alliance ship Defiance," Emma said, trying to keep her voice steady. "It's our first prototype, Warship, designed specifically for challenges we face as a smaller space power." The room erupted in what sounded like more alien laughter. A representative from the Silverian Collective, a species of blue-skinned humanoids with silver hair, leaned forward. "A warship?" she asked, her silver eyes gleaming. "Where are the plasma emitters, the graviton cannons, the phase shield generators?" "The Defiance uses a different approach," Emma explained. "Instead of trying to copy existing technology, we developed our own solutions based on Earth's long history of warfare and innovation." Captain Hunt stood beside his scientist. The two had worked together for months preparing this presentation. "We'd be happy to demonstrate our ship's capabilities," he offered. This statement caused an even bigger reaction. Many aliens turned to each other, their various forms of communication creating a cacophony of sounds, lights, and chemical signals that overwhelmed the room's translation systems for a moment. Zerath raised one of his clawed hands to gesture for silence. When the noise died down, he spoke directly to the humans. "You wish to demonstrate?" His multiple eyes moved independently, some watching the hologram while others studied the humans. "We accept this entertainment. The Korthank's Empire will provide one of our standard patrol vessels for comparison." "Actually," interrupted Commander Kyle Martinez, the Defiance's weapons officer who had just joined them, "we were hoping for something more fair. One ship against one ship. No battle groups. No support vessels." The alien ambassadors looked at each other again. Many seemed amused by human boldness. "The ISV Supremacy will participate," Zerath announced. "Our newest battle cruiser. It will make your demonstration quick." Admiral Blake wanted to object. The Supremacy was famous throughout the galaxy for being the most advanced warship in the Korthank's fleet. It was 3 times bigger than the Defiance and armed with weapons that could destroy small planets. "We accept," Captain Hunt said before. The Admiral could speak. Excellent, Cyrath replied, clicking his mandibles in satisfaction. We shall gather at the combat demonstration zone in the Omega Nebula in 3 days. There we will show everyone why humanity should focus on different pursuits. As the meeting continued with other business, Lucas pulled Emma aside. Are you sure about this? The Supremacy has shields that can stop any known weapon. Emma adjusted her glasses and smiled slightly. Every shield has weaknesses, Lucas, and every civilization has blind spots. That's what happens when you stop innovating and start believing you're unbeatable. Over the next 2 days, the human team worked frantically to prepare the Defiance. They ran dozens of simulations, tested every system, and made small adjustments to their weapons. The crew of 150 humans was excited but nervous. They knew this wasn't just a demonstration anymore. It was about proving that humanity belonged among the stars. On the day of departure, Admiral Blake gathered the crew in the main hangar. The Defiant sat ready for launch, its dark hull absorbing the lights of the station. I want you all to know that whatever happens out there, you've already proven something important, she said. You've shown that humans don't just copy others. We create, we innovate, and we never give up. Captain Hunt looked at his crew. He saw engineers, weapons specialists, navigation experts, and communications officers. Some were young, fresh from Earth's Space Academy. Others were veterans of humanity's first space conflicts. All of them had volunteered for this mission. Remember why they call this ship the Defiance, he told them. We're not just testing technology today. We're showing the universe that humanity refuses to be underestimated. As the Defiance launched from Haven 4, other ships from various civilizations followed to observe the demonstration. News of the event had spread quickly through galactic communication networks. Many species were interested to see what humans had created. Most expected to watch another upstart species learn their place in the cosmic hierarchy. But deep in the Defiance's computer systems, special programs waited for activation. In the weapons bays, unusual ammunition rested in storage racks. The ship's crew had learned every detail of Corthank's military doctrine, studied their tactics, analyzed their technology. 3 days later, at the specified coordinates in the Omega Nebula, the ISV Supremacy arrived. The massive battlecruiser dwarfed the Defiance by comparison. Its hull gleamed with advanced alloys that could withstand extreme temperatures. Energy weapons ports lined its sides, each one capable of massive destruction. Force field emitters hummed with power, creating a shield strong enough to block the strongest known attacks. Cyrath's voice came through the communication system. Humans, are you prepared to learn your lesson? Captain Hunt sat in his command chair. Around him, his bridge crew worked at their stations. The view screen showed the massive Corthank's ship. We're ready when you are, Lucas replied calmly. The other observing ships positioned themselves at a safe distance. Alien commanders prepared to document what they believed would be a quick victory for the Corthank's empire. But as the demonstration timer began counting down, something unexpected happened. The Defiance powered down most of its systems. Energy readings dropped to minimum levels. To the aliens' sophisticated sensors, the human ship appeared to be malfunctioning. Typical human technology, Cyrath commented to his crew. They cannot even maintain proper power levels for a simple demonstration. This will be even quicker than expected. What none of the aliens knew was that this was exactly what the humans wanted them to think. Inside the Defiance, hidden systems hummed quietly, undetectable by conventional sensors. The crew waited, ready to show the galaxy that sometimes old-fashioned ingenuity could defeat the most advanced technology. The countdown reached 0, and the mockery was about to turn into something very different indeed. 3 days passed quickly. The Defiance approached the meeting point in the Omega Nebula, a region of space filled with colorful gas clouds and young stars. The nebula made perfect conditions for a weapons demonstration because debris from explosions would be safely contained by the thick clouds. Commander Vexkar stood proudly on the bridge of the ISV Supremacy. He was tall even by Corthank standards, with extra ceremonial armor plating on his exoskeleton. His 4 arms moved confidently over control panels as he prepared his ship for what he expected to be an easy victory. The human vessel is approaching. Our position, reported his scanning officer. Sir, their energy readings are very weak. Their shields are barely active. Vexcar's multiple eyes focused on the tactical display. Pathetic. They cannot even power their defensive systems properly. This will be over in minutes. Around them, dozens of ships from various alien races positioned themselves to watch the demonstration. The Silverian Collective sent 3 observer ships. The Threx Empire sent their new scout carriers. Even the mysterious Voidwalkers, who rarely participated in galactic politics, sent a single probe to record the event. On the Defiance, Captain Hunt watched these observer ships arrange themselves in a semicircle. Lieutenant Sam Chen, his sensor operator, reported their positions carefully. All observers are at safe distance, Captain, Sam said. The Supremacy is taking position for standard combat formation. Dr. Rodriguez stood near the captain's chair, studying data on her pad. The Corthanks battle doctrine is very predictable. They always start with a power display to intimidate enemies. Then they use their phase shields to approach while firing plasma beams. Perfect, Hunt replied. Let them follow their playbook. Everyone, remember your training. This may be a demonstration, but I want you to act like this is real combat. Commander. Kyle Martinez, the weapons officer, checked his systems one more time. All weapon systems ready, sir. But we're still showing minimal power signatures from the outside. The sensor dampeners are working perfectly. Through the view screen, the crew could see the massive form of the Supremacy. The battlecruiser looked like a floating city with its thousands of windows lit up, each one representing a different department or weapon control station. Its shield emitters glowed with stored energy, creating a faint blue aura around the ship. Begin. Recording, Vexcar ordered. All observers will witness proper military might. Supremacy to Defiance, are you prepared to begin? Captain Hunt straightened in his chair. This is Captain Lucas Hunt of the EAS Defiance. We are ready. Then let us start with a simple display, Vexcar announced. The Supremacy's main plasma, cannon activated, charging with visible energy that made the space around it ripple. Observe real firepower, the battlecruiser fired at an asteroid floating nearby. The plasma beam hit the rock and instantly vaporized it, turning solid stone into glowing gas and scattered particles. The remaining energy continued into the nebula, creating a brilliant light show that impressed all observers. Many alien ships sent messages of approval to the Corthanks vessel. The Sylvaeans commented on the perfect power control. The Threx admired the efficient energy conversion. Even distant species not attending the demonstration received reports about the impressive display. Your turn, little human ship, Vexcar taunted. Show us what your innovation can do. Hunt nodded to Martinez. Fire Solution Alpha. The Defiance appeared to struggle as its weapon systems came online. Energy readings flickered and stuttered, making observers shake their heads in disappointment. One small cannon extended from the ship's hull. It looked primitive compared to the Supremacy's massive weapons array. The human ship fired at another asteroid. A small projectile shot out with no energy signature at all. It was just a metal slug moving through space. The projectile hit the asteroid but didn't vaporize it. Instead, it simply punched a hole through the rock and kept going. Alien observers began commenting again on their private channels. The consensus was clear. Humans were indeed using primitive weapons. This is embarrassing, one Silverian commander told his crew. They're using kinetic weapons. We stopped using those thousands of years ago when we discovered plasma technology. On the Supremacy, Vexacar's crew laughed openly. Did you see that? They shot a simple metal bullet. My ancestors used better weapons before we even discovered spaceflight. But Dr. Rodriguez was smiling as she watched her monitors. Sir, all systems are operating within expected parameters. The concealment protocols are working perfectly. Hunt understood. Their weapons testing was giving them valuable data about how the aliens perceived different attack types. More importantly, it was feeding the Corthanks overconfidence. Supremacy, shall we proceed to combat maneuvers? Hunt asked calmly. By all means, Vexcar replied, unable to hide his amusement. We shall show you proper ship handling as well as proper weapons. The battlecruiser began moving, its engines leaving trails of exotic energy in the nebula gases. It performed complex maneuvers that demonstrated perfect control. The ship spun on multiple axes, accelerated through difficult gravity wells, and even showed off emergency evasion patterns. The Defiance, in contrast, moved awkwardly. Its turns were wide and slow. When it tried to use the nebula's gas currents, for speed it seemed to lose control briefly. To everyone watching, it looked like human pilots couldn't properly handle their own ship. Pathetic, Vexcar pronounced. Their navigation systems must be as outdated as their weapons. This demonstration has become educational. Perhaps they will learn something before they embarrass themselves further. Lieutenant Sarah Davidson, who was actually performing perfectly scripted errors from the engineering station, reported to Hunt privately. Sir, their shield patterns are exactly what our war games predicted. They protect primarily against energy weapons and leave the lower arc weak during maneuvers. Confirmed, added Sam Chen from Sensors. The Supremacy adjusted their shield frequency 6 times during their demonstration. Every adjustment follows the standard Corthanks military doctrine from our intelligence files. Hunt kept his face neutral, while his crew gathered more information. The Corthanks were so confident that they were essentially giving a complete tactical briefing to their potential enemy. Very impressive maneuvers, Hunt said diplomatically. Perhaps we could now proceed to a simulated combat scenario? If you insist on further humiliation, Vexcar agreed. Standard demonstration rules apply. Safety protocols engaged. Energy weapons limited to 20% power. No physical damage to either vessel. Understood, Hunt confirmed, as both ships prepared for the mock battle. The observer vessels adjusted their positions. Many aliens expected this to be over quickly. Some had already started preparing to leave, certain they had seen enough to confirm human inferiority. The Threx Emperor's representative sent a private message to his fleet commanders. Revised threat assessment of human military to minimal level. Their technology poses no substantial challenge to our borders. The Silverian Collective similarly downgraded humanity in their defensive planning systems. Throughout the observing fleet, tactical computers updated their databases to reflect human ships as low-priority threats. Inside the Defiance, hidden cameras recorded every detail of the Supremacy's movements. Advanced computers analyzed shield patterns, energy flows, and weapon charging sequences. The crew was learning more about Corthank's military technology in real time than many races learned in centuries. All hands, prepare for combat positions, Hunt announced to his crew. Remember, they think they know everything about us. Let's keep it that way a little longer. The countdown for simulated combat began. 10 seconds remained. The Supremacy confidently maneuvered to its preferred attack position, showing no concern about the smaller human vessel. Vexcar was already planning his victory speech and considering which other human technology demonstrations to demand next. 5 seconds. The Defiance continued to show minimal energy signatures, barely maintaining its position in space. 3 seconds. Martinez's fingers hovered over his weapon controls, ready to activate systems the aliens had never seen. 2 seconds. Sam Chen watched, his displays carefully tracking every alien ship's position. 1 second. Dr. Rodriguez nodded to Captain Hunt. All concealment systems holding steady, sir. 0. The mock battle began. The Supremacy immediately powered up its plasma weapons and aimed them at the Defiance. Their shields pulsed with increased energy, ready to defend against any possible human counterattack. But as they watched their sensors, something unexpected happened. The Defiance suddenly released what looked like thousands of small metal fragments into space. These pieces had no energy signature and appeared to be simple debris spreading out in an expanding cloud. Did they just eject garbage? One of Vexcar's officers asked, confused. Their ship must be malfunctioning again. Another laughed. They cannot even begin a battle without falling apart. Across the observing fleet, alien commanders confirmed their suspicions about human technological inferiority. Some even began laughing at the absurd sight. But on the Defiance, Captain Hunt watched his tactical display with quiet satisfaction. The debris was spreading exactly according to plan, and the Corthanks had no idea what was about to happen next. The cloud of metal fragments spread out in all directions from the Defiance. Each piece was small, no bigger than a nail, and they moved slowly through space. To the Korthank sensors, they looked like harmless junk floating away from a damaged ship. Supremacy to Defiance, Vexcar called out, trying to sound helpful. Your ship appears to be breaking apart. Do you need technical assistance? Captain Hunt smiled but kept his voice serious. Negative, Supremacy. All systems normal. We are engaging combat systems now. The fragments continued to spread, forming a loose cloud around both ships. The Korthank's crew barely paid attention to them, focusing instead on charging their plasma weapons for the mock battle. We shall demonstrate defensive shield effectiveness, Vexcar announced to all observers. Watch how our phase shields repel all attacks. The Supremacy's shields flared with power. Blue energy fields surrounded the massive ship, creating layers of protection. Each layer was designed to stop different types of energy weapons. The shield system could adjust instantly to block plasma beams, laser fire, and even graviton impacts. Sir, reported the Supremacy's defense officer, our shields are operating at peak efficiency. No human weapon can penetrate these defenses. Meanwhile, the small metal fragments had spread far enough to surround both ships. To every observer, they looked completely harmless. Even powerful scanning systems couldn't detect any energy signatures from them. Inside the Defiance, the mood was very different. Dr. Rodriguez watched her displays with intense concentration. All kinetic penetrators are in position, she reported, to Captain Hunt. Preliminary scans of the enemy shield patterns are complete. Distance to targets? Hunt asked Commander Martinez. Optimal range achieved, sir. All fragments have self-oriented to their designated impact points. Hunt gripped his chair. Execute the first strike protocol. What happened next would be recorded in military history across the galaxy. The small metal fragments, which everyone had dismissed as harmless debris, suddenly accelerated toward the Supremacy. They moved with incredible speed, their trajectory carefully calculated by the Defiance's targeting computers. The Korthank ship's sensors finally detected the incoming projectiles, but too late. The battle computer tried to alert the crew, but the speed of the attack was too fast for proper defensive response. Warning: multiple impacts detected. The Supremacy's alarm systems began screaming. The metal fragments hit the Supremacy's shields. But instead of being blocked like normal projectiles, something unexpected happened. The phase shields, designed to stop energy weapons, barely slowed the solid metal pieces. The fragments punched through multiple shield layers like they weren't there. Impossible, Vexcar shouted. Our shields should stop everything. The impacts created bright flashes across the battlecruiser's hull. Each fragment carried special coatings that reacted with the ship's armor plating. Secondary explosions followed the initial impacts, creating a chain reaction of damage. Structural damage to port side. The Supremacy's damage control officer reported. Hull breaches on decks 12 through 18. The phase shields weren't designed for this type of attack. The observers watching the battle couldn't believe what they were seeing. The massive, supposedly invincible Korthank's battlecruiser was taking real damage from simple metal fragments. Those kinetic weapons, they're different, murmured a Silverian, commander to her crew. Their composition must be specially designed to penetrate phase shields. On the Defiance's bridge, Commander Martinez coordinated the attack with precision. His fingers moved quickly over his controls, adjusting trajectory calculations for the remaining fragments. The Supremacy's attempting to rotate and present their stronger dorsal shields, he reported. Compensating. Firing solution updated. Releasing second wave. More fragments launched from the Defiance. These were slightly larger and moved in coordinated groups. As they approached the Supremacy, they began to spin, creating more complex impact patterns that the Korthank's point defense systems couldn't handle. How are they doing this? Vexcar demanded of his weapons officer. Our point defenses should be intercepting these primitive projectiles. Sir, they're using the nebula's gas density to mask their approach. Our laser point defense can't lock onto targets this small in these conditions. The Defiance continued its unexpected assault, releasing waves of kinetic penetrators that found gaps in the Supremacy's defenses. Each hit caused more damage, overwhelming the mighty battlecruiser's repair systems. Plasma generator efficiency down to 60%, another Corthanks officer reported. We're losing power to forward weapon systems. The mock battle had turned into something far more serious. Vexcar's confidence evaporated as he watched his ship take more damage than it had in its entire operational history. This cannot be happening, he muttered. His mandibles clicked rapidly in agitation. How can humans generate such effective weapons? Captain Hunt maintained his calm demeanor while his crew worked efficiently. Status report. All stations. Weapon systems performing exactly as designed, Martinez confirmed. Ammunition reserves at 68%, ready for continued engagement. Dr. Rodriguez analyzed the damage to the enemy ship. The Supremacy's hull integrity is down to 72% in the affected areas. Their plasma conduits are exposed on the port side. Hunt nodded. Prepare for targeting solution on exposed systems. The message was clear to everyone watching the battle. Human weapons had found a critical weakness in advanced alien defensive systems. The Corthanks Empire, proud of their technological superiority, had overlooked the effectiveness of properly designed kinetic weapons. The Threx observers immediately updated their tactical databases. Revise human threat assessment to significant level. Their kinetic technology bypasses standard defensive systems. Among the Silverian Collective's ships, tactical officers began running simulations. We need to modify our shield frequencies, one advised. Our current defenses may be vulnerable to this type of attack. As the battle continued, the Supremacy tried to return fire. Their plasma beams lashed out at the Defiance, but the smaller human ship maneuvered with surprising agility. Each attack from the battlecruiser missed its target, while the Defiance's kinetic swarm continued to find vulnerable points. Their ship is more maneuverable than our scans suggested, Vexcar's navigation officer reported. They've been hiding their true capabilities. On the Defiance, Lieutenant Sam Chen called out warnings about incoming fire. Plasma beam incoming. Portside, impact in 7 seconds. Evasive pattern Alpha, Hunt ordered. The Defiance rolled smoothly away from the attack path. The movement looked effortless, nothing like the clumsy performance they had shown earlier in the demonstration. Captain, Dr. Rodriguez spoke quietly. Their engine performance and combat maneuverability were all an act. We've been misrepresenting our capabilities perfectly. Hunt smiled slightly. As planned, Doctor. Let's show them what human innovation really means. The battle reached a turning point when Commander Martinez identified the most vulnerable target on the Supremacy. Sir, their main plasma generator is exposed. If we can hit that junction, it will trigger a cascade failure in their primary weapons system. Confirmed, Sam Chen added. The exposed conduit is located at coordinates Mark 74, Section 22. Hunt made his decision. All remaining kinetic penetrators, focus fire on that target. End this demonstration. The final wave of metal fragments launched from the Defiance. These moved with deadly precision, guided by targeting computers that had learned the Supremacy's defensive patterns during the battle. They converged on the exposed plasma conduit, striking with devastating accuracy. The explosion lit up the nebula. The Supremacy's main weapon system overloaded, sending energy cascading through multiple ship systems. Sparks and atmosphere vented from damaged sections. Alien voices could be heard screaming alerts as backup systems struggled to contain the damage. All systems critical, the Supremacy's chief engineer reported. Main plasma generators offline. Weapons control compromised. We're down to minimal defensive capabilities. The mighty battlecruiser, pride of the Corthanks fleet, hung battered and partially crippled in space. Smoke and debris leaked from multiple breaches in its hull. The beautiful blue glow of its phase shields flickered weakly, unable to maintain proper coverage. In the observing ships, stunned silence replaced the earlier mockery. Alien commanders realized they had witnessed something historic, the fall of supposed technological superiority to human ingenuity. The Defiance circled the damaged Supremacy like a predator, its weapon system still active but holding fire. Captain Hunt knew this mock battle had become much more. He opened a communication channel. ISV Supremacy, do you surrender the demonstration? But before Vexcar could answer, something much more serious happened. From the edge of the nebula, more Korthank's ships appeared. These weren't observers. They were warships, painted in the colors of the Empire's military forces, and they were approaching with weapons armed. "Captain," Sam Chen reported urgently. 5 Korthank's battleships just dropped out of faster-than-light travel. They're taking combat formation. The demonstration had just escalated into a real conflict. The Korthank's Empire wasn't willing to accept this humiliation, and now they were sending reinforcements to crush humanity's upstart ship. Hunt's expression turned serious as he realized what was happening. The mock battle had revealed too much about Earth's capabilities, and the Korthanks were preparing to silence this threat permanently. "All stations, prepare for actual combat," he announced to his crew. This is no longer a demonstration. The 5 Korthank's battleships moved into attack formation. Each was nearly as large as the Supremacy, but with newer weapons and better armor. Their shields glowed with intense energy, creating a wall of defensive power that would challenge any fleet. "This is Fleet Commander Darvesh of the 3rd Armada," a harsh voice came through the communication system. "The human ship will surrender immediately or be destroyed. You have 30 seconds to comply." Captain Hunt looked at his crew. They had trained for scenarios like this, but facing 5 battleships in real combat was beyond what anyone had expected. "Sir," Lieutenant Sarah Davidson reported from engineering, "we still have 70% of our kinetic ammunition remaining. All systems are green, but 5 ships?" Hunt turned to his command crew. "They're attacking in Haven Nebula space. This is officially an act of war against Earth. Record everything and broadcast on all emergency channels." Commander Philip Adams, leading damage control, spoke up. "Captain, if we run, they might chase us back to Earth. If we fight, we might not survive. But at least we can show them we're not easy prey." "We're not running," Hunt decided. "All hands, to combat stations. Prepare all remaining weapons. Use the nebula to our advantage." The Defiance immediately dove into a thick cloud of gas and dust. The dense space material made it hard for enemy sensors to track the smaller ship. The Korthank's battleships spread out to surround the area, preparing to trap their target. Dr. Rodriguez worked quickly at her science station. "Captain, the gas cloud will disrupt their plasma targeting systems, but our missiles won't be affected much. We can use this." "What about their numbers advantage?" Martinez asked while preparing weapon systems. "They're following standard formation tactics," Dr. Rodriguez explained. "No ship wants to accidentally fire on their own forces, so they'll maintain specific distances. We can use their caution against them." Hunt nodded. "Begin ghost ship protocols. Drop all energy signatures to minimum. Sam, plot us a course through the darkest part of the nebula." The Defiance reduced its power to almost nothing. To the Korthank sensors, the ship seemed to disappear into the swirling gases. The battleships slowed their advance, uncertain where their target had gone. "Find them," Commander Darvesh ordered. "Full sensor sweeps. They cannot hide forever." While the enemy searched, the Defiance moved silently through the nebula, using the gravity of nearby asteroids and gas currents. The ship positioned itself behind the closest battleship without using active engines. "Ghost position achieved," Hunt whispered to his crew. "Martinez, give me a full damage profile on that ship." The weapons officer studied his displays carefully. "Their shield configuration shows they're expecting frontal attacks. Rear shields are at 40% strength." Hunt smiled darkly. "Then that's where we'll hit them." The Defiance had been equipped with something special for close combat. Dr. Rodriguez had designed the Thunderhead system, a network of small AI-controlled kinetic weapons that could think for themselves. "Activate Thunderhead protocol," Hunt ordered quietly. From hidden ports along the Defiance's hull, thousands of tiny projectiles launched. Each one had its own microcomputer and tiny engine. They moved like a swarm of metal insects, spreading out to surround the nearest battleship. The Korthank ship's point defense systems detected the swarm too late. Unlike the earlier demonstration, these Thunderhead projectiles could dodge defensive fire. They weaved through laser beams and evaded plasma bursts as they approached their target. Unknown contacts closing fast, the battleship's defense officer shouted. They're everywhere. Point defense can't lock on. The Thunderhead swarm struck from multiple angles. Each projectile found gaps in the armor plating or weaknesses in the shield coverage. Small explosions rippled across the battleship's hull, causing cumulative damage that overwhelmed repair systems. Engineering sections reporting fires. The battleship's damage control team frantically called out. Multiple system failures. We're losing power to weapon systems. Commander Darvesh watched in horror as one of his ships was devastated by an enemy he couldn't even see properly. All units converge on Sector 7-9. The human ship must be there. But the Defiance had already moved. Using the confusion and the nebula's cover, Hunt directed his ship to a new position. This time, they approached from below the formation, where battleships rarely expected attacks. Lieutenant Sarah Davidson worked her engineering magic, redirecting power from non-essential systems to weapons. I've enhanced our kinetic launcher's firing rate by 30%, sir. The price is overheating, but we can maintain the increased rate for about 10 minutes. 10 minutes might be all we need, Hunt replied. Prepare for rapid fire sequence. The Mao Defiance revealed itself suddenly, rising from beneath the battleship formation like a submarine from ocean depths. Its weapons ports opened wide, and streams of kinetic penetrators poured out at enhanced speed. The Korthank's ships tried to react, but their large size worked against them in the thick nebula. They couldn't fire freely without risking hitting each other. Their powerful weapons needed clear lines of sight that the gas clouds prevented. We're taking heavy damage, reported the second battleship as kinetic rounds peppered its hull. Shields dropping to 60%, requesting immediate support. Support is blocked by the damned clouds, Darvesh responded angrily. All ships, switch to proximity weapons. Clear the nebula of gas. The Korthanks attempted to use area effect weapons to disperse the nebula's gas. Powerful explosions lit up the clouds, creating temporary clear zones. But the Defiance anticipated this tactic. They're making the nebula work for us, Dr. Rodriguez observed, as shock waves from the explosions pushed gas around the human ship, like natural cover. Every time they clear one area, they create denser regions elsewhere. Hunt exploited these shifting gas patterns brilliantly. His ship appeared and disappeared, striking different targets each time. The Korthank's formation, designed for open space battle, became their own trap in the nebula's confusing environment. Third battleship reporting critical damage, came another panicked report. Main reactor output dropping. We need to withdraw for repairs. But withdrawing wasn't simple. The 5 giant ships kept interfering with each other's movements. When one tried to turn away, it blocked another's weapons. When they attempted to coordinate maneuvers, the nebula's gas made communication unreliable. The Defiance's crew worked as one perfect unit. Sam Chen tracked every battleship's position using passive sensors. Martinez calculated firing solutions while accounting for ship movement and gas density. Sarah Davidson kept the weapons operating, despite increasing heat damage. Fourth ship disabled, Adams reported from damage control. We've successfully crippled 4 out of 5 battleships. Hunt knew they were approaching their limit. The constant fighting had pushed their systems hard. One more ship. Let's make it count. The remaining battleship, still under Commander Darvesh's personal command, fired desperately into the nebula. Plasma beams lashed out in all directions, creating a light show that illuminated the gas clouds dramatically. Come out and fight, coward! Darvesh shouted over open channels. Face us directly, as you wish, Hunt replied calmly. The Defiance emerged from the nebula in a final, bold move. Instead of hiding, it charged directly at the remaining battleship. This aggressive action confused the Korthank's crew, who expected continued hit-and-run tactics. In those seconds of confusion, the human ship released its final attack. The last of its kinetic ammunition, combined with a desperate overload of the Thunderhead system, created a devastating impact. The Korthank's battleships forward, shields collapsed under the concentrated assault. Impossible! Darvesh screamed as his ship shuddered from multiple impacts. How can they still fight? They should be destroyed by now. The answer lay in human determination and clever design. While the Defiance had taken damage from scattered return fire, its modular construction meant damaged sections could be sealed off while others continued fighting. The ship remained combat effective even with significant hull damage. As the 5th battleship's weapons fell silent, Hunt surveyed the battlefield. 4 Korthank's battleships drifted powerless in the nebula. The 5th under Darvesh was barely functional with only minimal systems operating. The watching observer ships, which had remained at a safe distance throughout the battle, recorded everything. Multiple alien races realized they had witnessed a tactical revolution in space combat. The Threx commander immediately began updating fleet doctrine. The Silverian collective started planning new shield designs. But the battle wasn't over. Through the dissipating gas clouds, a new threat appeared. The ISV Annihilator, a Korthank's Imperial Sovereign-class dreadnought, dropped out of faster-than-light travel with a full escort fleet. This ship was different. While battleships were powerful, dreadnoughts were weapons of planetary destruction. The Annihilator alone could destroy the Defiance with a single shot from its main gun. "Captain," Sam Chen's voice was tight with tension. "The dreadnought is hailing us. They're demanding our immediate surrender and they're threatening to declare Earth enemy territory." Hunt looked at his exhausted crew. They had achieved the impossible by defeating 5 battleships, but even he knew they couldn't fight a dreadnought and its escorts. The Defiance had limited ammunition and damaged systems, yet something in the captain's eyes suggested he wasn't ready to give up. He had one last card to play. "Open a channel to all ships, including the dreadnought," Hunt ordered. "I want every race to hear this." As the communication channel opened, the fate of humanity's first space battle hung in the balance. The Annihilator waited for surrender, its massive weapons trained on the small human ship that had accomplished what many thought impossible. The tide of war was about to turn one final time. The ISV Annihilator was a monster among warships. Its black hull stretched nearly a mile long, covered in weapon ports and shield generators. The dreadnought's main gun alone was bigger than the entire Defiance. Behind it, 10 escort ships formed, a protective screen, ready to attack anything that threatened their flagship. "This is Sovereign Commander Karzan," a deep, threatening voice announced. "Your resistance ends now. Surrender immediately, or we will classify your species as hostile and act accordingly." Inside the damaged Defiance, Captain Hunt looked at his exhausted crew. They had fought brilliantly against 5 battleships, but everyone knew a dreadnought was different. These ships were built to destroy entire fleets. "Captain," Dr. Rodriguez whispered urgently, "I need to show you something. The prototype mirror protocol." Hunt nodded and followed her to a private terminal. The other crew members worked to keep the ship functioning while their captain made what might be the most important decision of humanity's spacefaring future. "We built redundancies into every system," Emma explained quickly. "The mirror protocol creates quantum-locked backup systems throughout the ship. Even if sections are destroyed, the ship can maintain function using reserve pathways." "But can it stop a dreadnought's main gun?" Hunt asked directly. "No," Emma admitted. "But it might. Keep us fighting long enough to—" "Captain," Sam Chen called out. "The Annihilator is powering up its weapons. Multiple energy signatures detected." Hunt returned to his command chair. He had to make a choice that would determine not just their survival, but Earth's place in galactic politics. "Activate mirror protocol," he ordered. "All hands prepare for emergency measures." Hidden systems throughout the Defiance came to life. Backup power conduits activated. Secondary control centers powered up. The ship's computer began redistributing vital functions across multiple redundant systems. "Mirror protocol active," Sarah Davidson confirmed from engineering. "We have system redundancy at 150%. We can survive partial destruction now." Hunt opened communication with the dreadnought. "Commander Karzan, we reject your surrender demand. Earth maintains its right to defend itself." "Foolish," Karzan responded coldly. "You have demonstrated tactics worthy of respect, but now you choose death. Annihilator, target their engines. Precise strike. The dreadnoughts weapons focused. One of its secondary guns fired, a plasma lance that could punch through battleship armor. The beam struck the Defiance's rear section directly. Alarms blared as the impact destroyed the starboard engine compartment. Metal vaporized, and structural supports melted. The ship shuddered violently, atmosphere venting from the damaged section. "Damage report," Hunt demanded. "Starboard engine destroyed," Davidson reported. "But mirror protocol is working. Backup thrusters compensating. We still have 60% maneuverability," the watching aliens murmured in surprise. Most ships would have been crippled by such a hit, but the Defiance continued to move and fight. "Interesting design," Karzan admitted over the open channel. "But it changes nothing. Target their weapon systems next." The Defiance had already prepared its counter-move. Commander Martinez executed a desperate plan that Dr. Rodriguez had suggested earlier. "Deploying decoy drones," Martinez announced. From hidden launchers, hundreds of small drones emerged. Each drone carried electromagnetic signatures identical to the Defiance. To enemy sensors, it suddenly appeared as if 50 identical ships surrounded the dreadnought. "Sensor interference," the Annihilator's scanning officer reported. "Multiple targets detected. We cannot distinguish the actual ship." The dreadnought's main gun, designed for precise strikes against large targets, couldn't target this swarm effectively. The escort ships fired wildly at the drones, trying to find the real Defiance. "Strike now," Hunt commanded. The Defiance accelerated through its own drone swarm, using the confusion to approach the dreadnought's weak point. Every ship this large needed massive power plants that created vulnerable spots near the engine section. "Targeting weak points," Martinez confirmed. "All remaining ammunition ready for precision strikes." The human ship fired its last kinetic rounds at the Annihilator's exposed reactor cooling systems. The smaller projectiles struck with incredible accuracy, causing localized damage that the dreadnought's massive shields had trouble preventing. "Minor damage to auxiliary systems," the Annihilator's damage control reported. "Shields holding at 98%. But Hunt's plan wasn't about destroying the dreadnought directly. Lieutenant Ryan Thompson in communications had been working on another angle during the battle. "Sir," Thompson reported excitedly, "I've been broadcasting everything on open frequencies. Every species in the galaxy is watching us fight." The implications hit everyone on the bridge immediately. The Annihilator was firing on a significantly smaller ship, and the entire galaxy was witnessing it. More importantly, they were seeing how Earth's innovations challenged Korthank's military superiority. "Commander Karzan," Hunt called out, "you're showing every civilization how much firepower you need to fight one small human ship. Is this the mighty Korthank's empire's strength?" The taunt worked. Karzan's pride, combined with growing audience pressure, pushed him toward a mistake. "Main gun. Destroy them now," he ordered angrily. The Annihilator's massive main weapon began charging. Its immense energy signature distorted space around the dreadnought. This weapon could destroy planets, and now it was being aimed at a single small ship. "Captain," Sam Chen warned, "multiple observer ships are broadcasting protest messages. They're saying using the main gun against us violates galactic warfare conventions." Hunt smiled grimly. "Perfect. All crew, brace for impact." The main gun fired. The beam was so bright it lit up the entire nebula. Space itself seemed to ripple from the energy discharge. The beam struck the Defiance directly in the center. For 3 seconds, the human ship disappeared in the plasma cloud. Every alien observer believed they had witnessed Earth's only warship being completely destroyed. But when the energy dispersed, something impossible appeared. The Defiance still existed. Large sections were destroyed. Atmosphere leaked from multiple breaches and its hull glowed with residual heat, but the ship remained intact and functional. "Damage report," Hunt called out calmly despite the chaos around him. 40% of ship sections destroyed, Davidson reported through the smoke and sparks. "But mirror protocol activated automatically. All vital systems have shifted to backup components. We can still fight." The bridge crew, though shaken, continued their duties. Several stations sparked with electrical damage, but backup consoles taken control automatically. "Impossible," Karzan shouted. "No ship can survive our main gun." Hunt's response was broadcast to everyone. "Your weapons are designed for the wars of the past. Today, you face the future." The Defiance, despite its damage, fired its remaining weapons. The kinetic round struck the Annihilator's shield emitters, the same spots that had been weakened by the previous precise strikes. Small explosions rippled across the Dreadnought's hull. "Shield generators in Sector 4 damaged," the Annihilator's crew reported. "Local shield failure detected." Sovereign Commander Karzan stared at the impossible scene. His flagship, designed to be invincible, had suffered damage from a ship that survived his main gun. Around him, escort ships continued firing ineffectively, while the Defiance's modular design absorbed damage that would have destroyed any conventional vessel. "Sir," the Annihilator's communication officer interrupted, "we're receiving direct communications from the Galactic Defense Council. They're demanding an immediate ceasefire." Multiple alien voices filled the communication channels. The Silverian Collective condemns this disproportionate use of force. The Threx Empire questions the honor of using planet-killer weapons against frigate-class vessels. The Neutral Council declares this demonstration has proven its point. Karzan's position became politically impossible. The galaxy had watched him use progressively more powerful weapons against a single small ship that refused to die. The Korthanks Empire's reputation for honorable warfare was crumbling with each firing of their guns. "Captain Hunt," Karzan finally responded, his voice carefully controlled. "You have demonstrated remarkable resilience. The Korthanks Empire acknowledges your tactical innovations. We will withdraw from combat." Hunt's response was professional but firm. "We accept your withdrawal. The Defiance will return to Earth for repairs." As the Korthanks ships powered down their weapons and began their retreat, the observer vessel sent a flood of communication requests to the damaged human ship. "This is Ambassador Sylvia of the Galactic Defense Council. Captain Hunt, we formally apologize for today's aggression. The Council requests immediate talks regarding your ship design. The Silverian Collective wishes to discuss defense technology sharing. The Threx Empire has revised our treaties with Earth to full alliance status." Hunt sat in his damaged command chair, his crew working around him to keep their battered ship functional. They had fought a dreadnought and survived. The notifications continued arriving as word spread across the galaxy. "Captain," Dr. Rodriguez said quietly, looking at the damaged systems around her, "you did it. You changed everything." "We did it," Hunt corrected. "Every person on this ship proved that Earth belongs among the stars." Ambassador Zirath's transmission arrived then, his tone completely different from their first meeting. "Captain Hunt, on behalf of the Korthanks people, I express regret for underestimating your species. We would discuss peace terms and technological exchanges." Hunt smiled, seeing the data streaming across his displays. Every alien civilization was updating their tactical projections, recalculating threat assessments, and preparing diplomatic overtures to Earth. The Defiance, its hull scarred but intact, turned slowly toward home. The battle had proven that sometimes the best innovation comes from necessity. The galaxy's powers had mocked Earth's weapons until those same weapons made an empire bleed. In the weeks that followed, the story of the Defiance's stand against 5 battleships and a dreadnought became legendary. Earth's shipyards received visits from former adversaries seeking to understand human design philosophy. The prototype ship had become a symbol, proof that clever minds could challenge the most powerful forces. Captain Lucas Hunt's final log entry read simply, "Today we showed the universe that being underestimated can be humanity's greatest advantage. The galaxy won't make that mistake twice." And aboard the damaged but victorious Defiance as it sailed toward Earth through the stars, every crew member knew they had helped write a new chapter in human history, one where mankind would never again be considered weak or primitive by those who inhabited the greater cosmos.